Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mix, episode 125 of our Isle of Man series. Happy Friday, wherever you're watching from. And if you're not watching this one live, if you're watching it after the fact in a playlist, something like that, happy whatever day of the week it happens to be, wherever you are. If you haven't caught up on the other episodes throughout the course of this week, we are in our third season in the Premier Division. We've had a couple of struggles in the early part of the season, but we are finally starting to pick up some form. I think we're synced in to a relatively good tactic that we're hopeful is going to get us some good results and performances today. We've got a big fixture in the Premier Division. We've got a third round tie in the FA Cup, a whole bunch of football to get through. If I can get my tongue wrapped around that one, we're going to jump straight in now and have a look at how we've done. As you guys can see, just here above my head, up into 7th spot. Now, at the start of the year, at the start of the season, at the start of the week, we said we want to try and finish in those top 7 places, maybe get like a Europa Cup run. I think we are a little bit further behind the teams that are playing Champions League football in terms of overall quality and performances and whatever else. But realistically, I could see us making the jump from being a top 10 side last season to a top 7 side this year, given some of the additions that we've got and the overall quality and depth in the squad. Now, of course, we didn't start the season fantastically well, but we have started to pick up a few performances. Last time out, we, of course, scrapped all of our tactics. We're working towards a gegenpress positive style for kind of when we're playing against teams away from home that we wanted to go after a little bit more. We've got a fluid counter-attack for when we expect to lose the majority of the possession. And then we've also had this one, the vertical tiki-taka, which so far has worked very, very well. Of course, in the last episode, we got a good 2-1 performance, 2-1 win against Bournemouth, an excellent performance from the team, and then a 2-0 victory against Arsenal. We carried that on with another 2-0 victory against a very strong Chelsea side who had their chances. They brought on Erling Haaland late on. He had a couple opportunities where he hit the crossbar. Thankfully, we did manage to hold on. Unfortunately, it did kind of hit a bit of a halt with a 1-1 draw against Aston Villa, who at the time were bottom of the division. I switched us up and away from home went for gegenpress for both the Aston Villa and the Wolves games. Against Wolves, Pablo Rivera, excellent. He had 2 one-on-one finishes, found bottom corners both times, did very, very well. Hopefully that is the start of him kind of pushing on and becoming a Premier Division level striker. He's had a good betting in period now, like we've played 18 games in the league itself. He started each of them. He should now know what the division is and should be able to hit the ground running. We're going to play Man City away. I'm going to mix it up just a tiny bit. I think we're going to go with the vertical tiki-taka. We know it worked against Arsenal. We know it worked against Chelsea. Hopefully, playing a Man City side that I think is going to want a lion's share of possession playing at home, it might help us quite a bit to try and draw them out a little bit, have them press us high up the pitch and then exploit the space in behind. We're also going to play Leeds in the FA Cup. We'll see how our results go. We might try and rotate a little bit. There has been a lot of football for the guys that are not just playing with us, but also having international call-ups. European Under-21 Championship qualifying is happening at the minute, so we do lose the majority of our squad when there are international windows. As far as the squad's concerned, the only concern at the moment is Jose Cedron. He's got a suspension for this game, which means we're probably going to have to force George Escobar to be like a backup auxiliary right back option. We'll leave him as a wing back on defend for the time being, but we might set him to like a no-nonsense fullback if it's not quite working out for us on that right-hand side. We do have another right back joining in January. I'll introduce you guys to him in the next episode. And his arrival should push us closer to having pretty much a starting 11 of all Wonder Kids, which is always great to see. It's just one of those things that it's an extra layer of icing on the cake. It's a cherry on top, whatever you want to put it. I just love having Wonder Kids at long-term saves. It makes it more enjoyable for me. Speaking of George Escobar, we've got a couple of clubs sniffing around. I've put a £20 million price tag on him. If people are willing to pay that, I will let him go. Also for Javier Aguirre, there's a few Spanish teams that have been sniffing around him, given that we've left him in the doghouse since he went out to that nightclub a couple of weeks ago. If they're willing to pay maybe about £30 million for him, given that we're not using him, I will happily let him go as well. But that's stuff that will overcome in January. We'll, of course, go through all January transfers and stuff in next week's episode. So looking now at the 2 lineups, we'll go through City first, being the home side. They've got one holdout, and he's a very, very good holdout. Phil Foden's still playing at the number 10 for Man City. 33 years of age now, but he has had quite the career. Nearly 400 appearances. You'd expect him to get to that level maybe towards the end of this season. 78 goals from the number 10 spot as well. 7 appearances so far in the league for a 7.12 average rating. Still very, very talented. Some wonderful technical attributes for an advanced playmaker. Mentally, very, very gifted as well. Physically, of course, slowing down a little bit at 33 years of age, but he has had quite the career and a whole bunch of different milestones all the way through at Man City. He'll likely finish his career on their books. He's been a Community Shield winner. He won the Euros with England. He won the Euro International League with England. World Cup runners-up. Premier Division winners previously. Community Shield winners. Premier Division winners. He's had a whole bunch of different trophies in his cabinet. A very distinguished servant for City over the years. They've also got Toby Jones, who scores against us pretty much every time we play. He is one of the England strikers, but they're using him as a right winger today. Not his preferred role, but 18 dribbling, 17 crossing, 16 technique. He's more than capable in that position. At the back, the other guy I'll highlight is Gregory Francois. We tried to buy him 4 or 5 times from Rennes and just couldn't afford him. In the end, it came a little bit too early, his transfer to Man City. £14.75 million they paid. We didn't have the cash at the time, unfortunately. And to be honest, we weren't going to be able to afford his wages. £400,000 a week is bonkers. But at 20 years of age, he is a wonder kid. One of the best ones in the world. 4-star current ability. Sorry, 4.5-star current ability. 5-star potential and an excellent central defender. Maybe the fact they're using him as a left back will help us a little bit, but it's Man City. Like, you know they're going to be a good side. They consistently spend, hundreds of millions of pounds every transfer window to improve their squad, and I understand the irony that we've also done that the last 2 years, but they are very, very strong. For us, we're going Mancini in goal. Carlos Andre and Escobar will fill in at right back. Esteban and Mokhtar as the 2 central defensive partners there. Henry and Leicester, who are performing very, very well together as this base of midfield. Henry, the highest average rated player for the season. Leicester, just a sneaky one. I kind of dropped him out of the side for this year, but he's really been excellent in the couple of appearances he's made since we changed our tactic a little bit. 7.28 average rating over 12 appearances for the 20-year-old wonder kid. Barbosa plays at the 10, Ortiz at left wing. He is our leading assist maker for the season, equal with Peacock over on the right, and Rivera, now our leading scorer, leading the line up top. We're passionately going to say, I know a lot of you are keen to avenge what happened the last time we played Man City. Again, it just goes to show how poor we must have been at certain points throughout last season that so many clubs at the moment were able to use that talk. Foden's got a corner here. He's gone back stick towards Dyche, and then Escobar hacks it away. So an early opportunity for City from the set piece, and thankfully we do deal with it. We haven't had a whole bunch of possession, which doesn't really work that well with a vertical tiki-taka. You do want to have a bit of the ball to try and drag them out. Highlight there started with Peacock, but we've lost out. Now Pereira comes forward for Man City. He's gone past the challenge at Escobar. We are going to have to be wary of that fullback challenge. And thankfully, after that very long and mazy run, the strike at the end of it wasn't quite good enough, and Mancini saves and holds. Deep free kick here. It looks like it's going to be Pages to take for Man City. Goes over the top to Vasha, and someone's got to get tighter to him. Thankfully, a good recovery challenge there for Mokhtar, and Mancini can only force it out for the corner kick. We're back into our zonal shape here. Goes back stick towards Vasha, and again, straight at Mancini. We are under a little bit of pressure here, and given the flow of highlights we've seen, we might go gegenpress just for the next 20 minutes or so. We've got a highlight from a corner. Ortiz puts it in. Pereira's going to try and clear it away, but it should fall to Esteban to reset. Escobar now looks into the corner. No one chasing it though. Pereira sends a ball into the channel for Foden to chase, but Esteban will get there first. Escobar back to Esteban. Long one forward towards Rivera, but he's 1 out against 3. He's not going to win many of those headers, the diminutive Mexican. Jones with a switch. Escobar with a good header. Manages to play it back now, and he looks out left-hand side, but again, a poor clearance. He's given City the ball again. Owens with the drive from the edge of the area. Thankfully, beyond the far post. Reset from a goal kick here. It's going to be Mancini to take. Across to Esteban. Now Mokhtar. Leicester. Trying to drag them in a little bit. Good switch out towards Ortiz on the left-hand side. He skips past one challenge. Now plays Rivera, who goes first time strike, and it wasn't a mile away. Keeper was scrambling as it went just over the crossbar. Got about 10 minutes remaining in the half, so we're going to use our demand more shout. Just try and give everyone some focus through to half-time. City immediately have a highlight, which is always frustrating. Ball in the back here, forward by Dyche. Here's where we've got to be careful, this overlap on the right-hand side. Pereira, backstick ball towards Toby Jones. Carlos Andre with an excellent header away. It's squared up to Vasha, and they've found the go-ahead goal. 7th goal of the season for him. He's had a couple of opportunities, it must be said, in the first half, and it was Sean Brady, the overlapping fullback on the right. Pereira's ball across here was a good one. Definitely Carlos Andre had to hit the header. And then we're just a little bit slow getting out to Brady. Squares at front post, and the movement in front of the defender there is very good. Near post finish, the keeper could do nothing about it. Now we just need to try and hold on and keep this at a 1-goal margin until half-time. At least then, if we're going down at half-time, we know what our half-time team talk will be. We know what the tactical adjustment will be. Dressing room, we're going to go straight in there and aggressively say, I expect to see much better performance from you. Everyone seems fired up, which is great. Tactically, though, we're going to switch and go back to that vertical tiki-taka. It is our attacking mentality. We are going to have to go after it a little bit in the second half. As we look at match ratings, Arnaud Henry having an uncharacteristically poor game. Rivera struggling a little bit, as is Luis Barbosa. And of course, George Escobar, but he's filling in. That's to be expected. Telling that the ball came in from Pereira originally on that right-hand side, which probably put our back line a little bit disjointed. I know Escobar's doing a job. I'm not going to be too hard on him, but maybe if we had a full-strength lineup, we would have been able to deal with it a bit quicker. There is a highlight here with an hour gone. We'll let this play out and then have a look at making our subs. Brady with the ball to Zhang Yu, the Chinese central midfield superstar. Dyche, now Zhang Yu again. Ball out left towards Pereira, who did the damage with the initial cross for their goal. Foden, back to Zhang Yu. They seem to just be trying to draw us out now. They might be playing a little bit of vertical tiki-taka on their own. Pereira with the ball over to Owens. Carlos Andre does very well, but his clearance is poor. Puts his pressure straight back on in midfield. Pages, ball out to the right-hand side. Owens is going to keep it in. Just stand him up, boys. Don't do anything silly. Don't overcommit to Brady either. Gokhan Keklik with the strike from distance and Mancini with the save, but he can't push it around the post. And Guillermo Pereira gets the goal, his 9th of the season. We're going to jump in and make some subs now. So Rivera struggling a little bit. We'll bring on Scott Phillips. Barbosa not having the greatest game either. We might bring on Mariano Oru and move him to an advanced playmaker. See if we can't try and take advantage of another ball player out there. Tell him we've got faith in him. And then I think we're also going to use probably Get Creative shout. It's a different beast, this Man City side. It's not like Guardiola's City. They don't really want the ball all that much. They seem quite content to counter attack a little bit more. Good ball over the top here to Escobar if you can get it in the box. Ball towards Rivera front post. It's closed down well by the defence. And then Zhang Yu puts it out for the corner. Good little press. And we're going to see how changes come through during this set piece. We're also going to use our Get Creative shout. Let's see if we can't try and pull something back. We're of course staying attacking, which does leave us open to the counter attack. City potentially could blow it out here, but a ball forward to Phillips. First real involvement from the sub. He's going to get it back on his favoured left foot and goes the strike. It's an excellent finish for his first goal from the season. A wonderful goal. We'll check it out here in 3 dimensions. I think Mokhtar pretty much just cleared it down the middle. He's getting credit for a wonderful assist, but long ball forward. Phillips brings it down, takes the touch around the onrushing defender. He hasn't got much of an angle to work with. He's very wide on the left and just smashes it back across into that far corner, just inside the far post for a wonderful, wonderful goal. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of a glimmer of hope for us. I'm going to use our Get Creative shout again when I can. We've got the ball here, starting again from a goal kick. Mokhtar comes forward. Esteban now, and Escobar on the right-hand side. Just keep the ball. He's looked up the line towards Peacock, who's been up and down over the last month or so. Oru now, Henri, finds Escobar on the overlap. Can he wrap his foot around the ball? In towards Henri. Ortiz with an excellent challenge on Brady. Tries to get the strike away. It's pinballing around, and then Henri's hit the base of the post. Cerrone just maybe getting a little touch on it before Francois put it into touch. So we are coming back into the game a little bit since those subs. We're going to make one more now. Carlos Andre, the one that's really struggling. We're going to bring on Medjidou at left wing back. Assertively, I've got faith in you. And then we're also going to use a demand more shout for the last 10 minutes. Highlight here for City. It's a free kick from a deep area. Dietrich with the header just over. Mancini was scrambling, but sails over the crossbar. 4 minutes of additional time to be added on. We have got a late highlight here. It's going to start in our possession. Mancini plays it forward. Esteban, now Mokhtar. We want to wait for them to commit. Good ball forward to Ortiz as well, who has got a bit of space in front of him. Can burst around him out if he needs to. Finds Phillips in the box. Can he find the finish? It's a good save from the keeper. There's a few minutes remaining. We're going to hit pause because I just want to use one more shout. Get creative with about a minute and a half remaining of additional time. Any late highlights or late drama in this one for either side? It's not. It's so underwhelming the way the game just ends now. Just put that final highlight in just for the content's sake, for Christ's sake, so what's interactive, or make it something that I can select. If I want to see a highlight that gives me false hope, then let me do that. 25 shots, 12 on target, 41% possession for City in the end. They are a very good team, it must be said, and they were probably the better side on the balance of highlights that we saw. 15 shots, 5 on target, 59% of the ball for Scott Phillips with an excellent consolation goal laid on. Can't fault any performances, just one of those days. I'm not going to get too down on everybody. We went aggressive and attacking away from home, which isn't always the method that we want to be using. Does see us drop out of the top 7. Bournemouth overtake us just on goal difference alone. Chelsea not far behind, and Norwich only a game behind as well. But it is still relatively tight. Leeds aren't miles away from us. City aren't miles away from us. If we go on a good run in the second half of the season, there's no reason we can't jump up a few league spots by the time we come back for Monday's episode. Phillips sends his goal drought, which is great. He previously played 11 hours without a goal. It was an excellent finish as well. Let's give him a bit of praise to hopefully boost his morale and his ability off the bench. We lose after 6 undefeated games, but, away to Man City, it's not anything worth getting upset about or worrying too much about what we're doing. We're going to play Leeds away from home. I'm curious if we should go vertical tiki-taka, or we might move to gegenpress, playing at Ellen Road and put a little bit more pressure on them. Thankfully, we will welcome back Jose Cedron, so we can go with relatively a full-strength lineup, effectively. But we do only have 5 on the bench, so there will be a couple of adjustments that we're going to make to the playing group itself. Magic of editing, though, we're going to jump forward a couple of days to the game against Leeds now. Right, just like that, we're a few days further ahead, and we have rotated just a little bit just to try and get some additional run in a few players. Medjidou comes in for Carlos Andre, who struggled in the last match, and Medjidou, to his credit, has slowly developed into a wing-back on defend, which is the role we want him to fulfill. I do want to reward that. I don't want to cut him off entirely. He's only on a 6.7 average rating for his appearances this year, but again, a young English talent. We want to try and give him a platform to improve in the second half of the season, so he'll come back in. Oru will come back in with Barbosa dropping down to the bench. It'll be interesting to see, moving him to an advanced playmaker, how this role actually goes in the gegenpress system. But we've given Oru a couple opportunities. He has improved this season, but really we paid £10 million for him. I don't think we've gotten a return on that expense just yet. So we might give him a chance to see if he can impress and maybe push for a starting berth in the league. Teddy Bloor will come in on the left-hand side. We'll give Ortiz a bit of a spell just because of fitness, and Winter will come in on the right because Peacock is also struggling for a little bit of fitness as the season goes on. Henri, also the other one that we've got to keep an eye on. He is struggling for a little bit of fitness at present. One of those players that has to go and play with the French under-21 side anytime there's an international break, so he hasn't had much respite this year. If we get through, get a good performance, we might give him a bit of a spell just to get his fitness underway. Assertively, we're going to say it's a great opportunity to show all the pundits have been right to back you up. I forgot to preview Leeds side, but they're all right. They've got Bukayo Saka still going, Frankie de Jong still in there, but he's retiring at the end of the year. It's a Leeds team that came up very, very early in this database into the Premier Division, and they have been in the Premier League all the way through. They haven't yo-yoed between here and the Championship or anything like that, and they are sitting in the top 6 sides of the Premier Division so far this season. We are, of course, on our vertical tiki-taka mentality. No, we're not. That's a lie. We're on a gegenpress mentality for this one, being away from home. And Winter has the ball here on the right-hand side in the first highlight. Cedron, going to look to get the ball in from a wide area. Goes back stick. It's pinballing around. Rivera's managed to hit the post. We get another bite of the cherry, but Bloor can't find the finish. Now Saka comes forward for Leeds. Is that the end of the highlight? We're going to see some more here. It is indeed brought to an end. But statistically speaking, we are so far on top, and we have had the one highlight as we get towards the 30-minute mark. We might use our Get Creative shout, see if we can't turn some of these stats that we're seeing here into actual tangible opportunities and highlights. And again, the other thing that's probably easy to note, I'm not sure how much Leeds have rotated. It's hard because we don't see their team every week. They might similarly be trying to get some additional run in some of their squad players. Half-time's called, 5 shots, 1 on target, 46% possession for Leeds at home at Ellen Road. For us, 8 shots, 5 on target, 54%, but just the one highlight for either team in that first half. Assertively, we're not doing that badly. If everyone continues to work hard, we'll win this. And then I'm going to also assertively tell everyone that I think there's more to come from them, just to hopefully inspire them to kick on and go at the same level again in the second half. We don't really want to replay. I don't think that really benefits either side at the moment, given how heavy the December fixture period is, and we want to try and get some space in January. So we will continue to try and push. We might even move to attacking and our vertical tiki-taka structure in the second half. Ball forward here finds Saka, who's looking to step inside on his left foot. Back to Frankie de Jong. Now Nene in midfield. They're working this ball on the right-hand side, looking for that switch of play. Lazaro sends it out to Milian now on the left-hand side, and Cedron jumps in with a very rash challenge that didn't need to be made. Milian didn't have much angle to get a strike on goal, but he's going to get the opportunity here from the penalty spot. And Mancini does tremendously well to get down to his right-hand side and not just save it, but also hold us to keep us in the game. Antonio with the throw-in now on the left. You can feel Leeds coming into this one a little bit more. That missed penalty might spur them on a little bit to try and find a goal in open play. Noberto out to Altaliba. Ball across back stick. Milian with the header. It's clipped the inside of the crossbar and just didn't quite cross the line. We're hanging on here a little bit. We might have to make our subs a little bit earlier than normal. Diego Noberto with the ball in. Mancini, I think it was going wide, but he did quite well with the save. Let's make those subs a little bit earlier than we normally would. We're going to switch it up. We're going to go to our attacking mentality. Oru struggled to get his foot on the game. We're going to bring Lua Barbosa in, and Elliot Bloor also struggling. Thankfully, Ortiz is on the bench. Cedron and Medjidou both on yellow cards. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I didn't put a fullback on the bench, but we're just going to have faith that those two can get their shit together and stay on the park. Going to use our Get Creative shout as well. Let's see if we can't push on and try and create something in the second half here. Long ball forward now to Bramley. I think a fresh sub for Leeds on the left-hand side. Leicester, he goes past that challenge. Cuts it back towards Nene. It's a good header away from Mokhtar. Back into Diego Noberto, pinballing around in the area. Cedron gets it away, and then it falls to Nene. We had bodies in there, just no one can get anywhere near the ball at the minute. Bramley, Winter wins it back, sends Rivera up the line. Is there any counter-attack here? No. Antonio with the challenge, puts it out for the throw, and the highlight comes to an end. End-to-end stuff at the moment. We've got Henri and Mancini, the best players on the park in terms of match rating, but it does feel like the tide's turned a little bit, and Leeds have had quite a few highlights as this second half has worn on. Deep free kick here for Cedron. Leicester finds it across to Henri, looks to send Winter in behind. Good flick on header, but Antonio clears for Leeds. We've got a counter-attack here on the left-hand side if they move the ball correctly. Norberto doesn't want to give up possession though. Esteban now with the ball back for us. Across to Mokhtar. Work it side to side, boys. Send it out wide right to Ortiz. Good flick on header. He's going to have to chase his own ball though. He's won it back from Lazaro in a great area. Can he find the finish? It's a good effort, and Stokes with an excellent save. The Leeds custodian just diving to his left to push that one around the post. Ortiz now with the corner. Looks towards back post. Mokhtar was in the area, but it's headed away and the highlight comes to an end. We're into the last 10 minutes now. We're going to hit pause again. Let's use that last sub. Medjidou, the player that's struggling a little bit. Escobar's on the bench, but I don't really want to make that sub. We might take off Rivera and bring on Phillips to see for some fresh legs up front. And of course, an excellent goal last time out. Maybe he can be the hero in the cup as well. Let's also use a get creative shout again. Everyone seems to have responded positively, very inspired, but at the same time, Leeds look focused in their feedback. 3 minutes of additional time to be added on. A draw helps nobody, but it looks like it's going to end 0-0 in this one as the referee calls full time. 15 shots, 6 on target, 49% possession for Leeds. That missed penalty really the tail of it for the Leeds side. 13 shots, 8 on target, 51% of the ball for Isle of Man. And we will assertively say, unlucky boys, just wasn't our day. And really, like, a replay doesn't help anyone. It's going to reschedule probably our game against Bristol in a few days. Honours even at Ellen Road. Arnaud Henry gets the Man of the Match award, and it does mean we will have a return fixture at the FC Isle of Man Stadium, which is great. Actually, I take that back. It looks like the FA Cup third round replay is not going to take place for another 2 weeks on the 11th of January. So we will have a little bit of a spell. 2 big games against Bristol and Man United in the division before we come back for that FA Cup tie. We'll probably play those games off screen. I think we'll come back next week and do the games against Man City and Norwich. It'll be good because we just played Man City. It'll be good to see how we've progressed in those 4 or 5 games and what we look like when we're playing as the team at home. We've gotten good results at home against the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal. I think that'll be very interesting to see how we go. And also, it might also be our first game in the new year, in the new stadium. So we might try and make that a focus of next week's episode as well. But I'm hopeful, like we've just come out of that kind of good run of form. I'm hopefully we can get a similar run like this, get going again in the second half of the season. We did finish the episode outside of the top 7 spots. That is what we're aiming for. That is where we want to try and get this season. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a very up and down week, actually. We've had very low bottoms when I was really struggling with the save, trying to get everything sorted. I think we're in a good position now, and I think this vertical tiki-taka adjustment is helping us quite a bit. We might try and get rid of the gegenpress a little bit and maybe come up with a version of the vertical tiki-taka that isn't quite as aggressive to play against teams away from home. If you want to help support the channel, go that extra mile other than just watching the content, you can drop a like on this video, help celebrate, I don't know, whatever it is we're celebrating this time out, an FA Cup replay, I guess, against a bigger Leeds side at home. Or you can also subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all our future videos as they continue to release now and up until the release of FM21. But like I said at the start, more than anything, I just appreciate you guys watching. I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.